All right, you guys, what is up? We are live. Welcome back to our daily live feed as you are getting logged on. If you would like to come work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. We do hair, makeup, suits, and posing, all the fun stuff when it comes to competing. If you are logging on Instagram, we are also live on YouTube. And on YouTube, we will be screen sharing photos from this past weekend show and going into my final Olympia predictions. Yeah, I'm a little nervous for this one, to be honest with you guys, because this was a very, very hard prediction list to put together. I literally have so many names swapped around and scratched out and moved and back and forth. So it's gonna be a battle this weekend. So what we're gonna do first is I'm going to talk really quickly about fitness first. Then we are going to talk about Battle of Texas and how that has determined my picks for Bikini Olympia 7 through 15. I leave for Vegas on Wednesday too. Yeah, I'll be out there on Wednesday as well. So, yeah, I'm excited. This is the last final hurrah of the year, all of that. So it's going to be a fun weekend. It's going to be an interesting weekend. It is going to be the biggest Olympia that we have ever seen and will ever see, and probably will ever see ever again, just because of the way that the qualification series was this year. There was an extra 2 months of qualifications, basically almost 3 months of qualifications. So what's up, guys? Yeah, as you're getting logged on, please say hi. Let me know you're here. Comment, like, subscribe, all of that. Subscribe, turn on notifications so you know that when we go live. This will be the only time we go live this week. I am working on editing a Bikini Girl in a Bodybuilding World episode to put up tomorrow, hopefully. I just have so much to do before I actually get out to Vegas on Wednesday. So yes, I'm excited. This is gonna be a completely different kind of Olympia. I mean, it's a different venue. I've been to Vegas 1,000 times. I used to live there. I've been to Vegas 1,000 times for Olympia. But this is a completely new venue, so it's going to be different. So it is cold in Vegas right now. Again, I used to live there, so I know that it gets cold during the winter. When I was putting my Christmas tree up one year in Vegas, while I was putting up my tree, snow was coming down. So it does get cold in Vegas, you guys. It does get cold. So you're there already. Oh my goodness gracious. I don't know. So here's my thing too. As we're waiting for everybody to log on, I like to tell little stories and stuff like that. So, now that I don't live there anymore, and when I do go back, 4 days is about my max. At that point, it's just too much. I need to go home. Yeah, Battle of Texas did change my top 5. They did. Or no, I'm sorry, not top 5. They changed my top 15 around a bit. Battle of Texas did. But I'm going to get into that. The last thing that I'm going to get into is how I think these placings and call outs, things like that, are going to work. So, yeah. As far as Vegas, I'm like 4 days is max. So I'm what is it? I'm getting there on Wednesday and I'm leaving on Sunday night. So I'm going to be tapped out. I'm going to be tapped out. And I'm a little nervous for the time change too, because I stay up pretty late. I'm a late night person here, but still late night over here is only 9 p.m. over there. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm getting old. This whole time change thing is too much for me. So, but anyway, so as I said, if you are logging on Instagram, you can stay on Instagram if you'd like. But over on YouTube, we will be screen sharing. So I'll have pictures up and things like that. We have quite a few people logged on onto YouTube right now. We've got the chat going and all that kind of stuff. So, we're all ready to stay up late. I'm going to have to be like on caffeine runs 24/7 because I am doing makeup as well for our girls that are competing. So it's going to be long days, long days. So I do want to touch on fitness. So the main reason why I want to touch on fitness is because we have a competitor that is actually competing in fitness, and that's Andrea Glass. So I wanted to pull her up really quick and shout her out. Now, Andrea, we've been working with her just a little bit after she turned pro. So she won Toronto Pro for fitness. And so that gives her a lifetime sponsorship with me. So as you guys know, if you're new here, with my business, how I do this is I call this the Pro Performer Promise. So if you win your pro card, or if you win your way to the Olympia while wearing one of my suits, you then get sponsored for the remainder of your career. So Andrea did win that by winning Toronto Pro. She won Toronto Pro, which also got her Olympia qualified. And fun fact about Andrea is when she won her pro card for fitness, they didn't have to do a physique round at all. So she didn't start posing for, figure posing until she was already a pro. They just had routines when she actually won her pro card. So she has come a long, long way with her posing. I can't wait for you guys to see her on stage at the Olympia. She has her new suit. We've been working diligently on her posing, and she looks phenomenal. So I can't wait to be there to cheer her on and get all the video footage that I can of the suit sparkling on stage and everything too. So she's gonna look phenomenal. We are doing her makeup too. So I can't wait for this to happen. Most of us cuties, us ladies, we're all going to the finals on Friday night. So if you're coming to Vegas and you want to come hang out with us, come on Friday night, because wellness and fitness are both on Friday night, and we have both Andrea and Devin competing. So we are all going on Friday night to be able to cheer them on. So if you haven't gotten your finals tickets yet, you know where to go. You know what to do. All right. So I want to give her a shout out of her Olympia debut. And then I also wanted to talk about who I think is going to be in our top two. So from what I've heard, Adela Garcia is not competing. She was supposed to, which I was really excited about because she hasn't been on stage in a long time. And she was Miss Fitness Olympia, 8 times, something like that. But I think she got injured. Same thing happened last year. She got injured and she's not able to compete. Also, gosh, oh my gosh, her name is slipping my tongue right now. Oksana. Oksana is another one that I think is injured, so she may or may not be competing. So with that said, I think we have this down to 2 people that could be potentially winning this title, and that would be Ariel Kadar and Missy Truscott. So Ariel just won the Arnold. Ariel is also, I believe, the youngest fitness pro or pro period to win a title like this. I think she won her pro card, if I'm not mistaken, when she was 16, something like that. But she was phenomenal at the Arnold. I was there in person at the Arnold too. She had an amazing routine, phenomenal look, phenomenal physique too. And she won that title versus Missy Truscott, who Missy Truscott has also won that title. But she got beat out by Ariel. So this is going to be like the battle of the champions, basically. If I had to pick somebody right now, honestly, I would probably put Ariel in that position. Missy is phenomenal. She's a freak of nature when it comes to her genetics. She looks amazing, but she tends to have a problem with her conditioning on her backside. So we'll see what her conditioning looks like, but that tends to be what gets her dinged in the physique round. So it's going to be, I'm curious to see how this is going to go. I'm actually really curious to see how this is going to go. Now, Whitney Jones is also a previous Olympia winner, but she has pulled out of the Olympia this year for health reasons. I heard that she retired from somebody else, but I don't think I ever heard her say that, but she has pulled out of this year for sure. I do know that. So it is going to come down to, I think, these two really battling out for that top title. So if I had to pick somebody now, I would say Ariel, just because she's coming off of the Arnold win. But Missy did win Boston, which is what you're seeing right here. You're seeing Boston Pro. So they're both coming in off of wins. So it'll be a matter of who beats who. That's my 2 cents for that particular division. So I wanted to give the fitness ladies a shout out. And again, I'm super excited. My favorite part of finals at the Olympia are the fitness routines. So I'm excited to see that. Now let's move over to Battle of Texas. This was a show that definitely changed. I don't know if they particularly changed my placings, but they changed how I'm ordering some people and how they're going to be called out at the Olympia. So, before we get into the Olympia, let's talk about Battle of Texas a little bit. We're not going to go through in depth and detail with each of these girls, but I do want to go through and kind of show you my thought process. So that is what I have up for Olympia. So that's not what I want. Let me find Let me get rid of a bunch of these tabs here. I've got too many tabs up right now. Let me find here we go. Okay. So I wanted to start and talk about the top 4, because really that's what it came down to. Is it came down to the top 4 in this particular show. That was the first call out, and then during confirmation round, they did bring out more girls, but this was your top 4. So Octavia took 4th. I think Octavia has a very good look overall. However, there's a few things she needs to work on. Her front pose is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal front pose. But she's a little bit too hard. She needs to be a little bit more round, a little bit more bubbly. I think this front pose is beautifully put together, but she's just a little bit too hard. She needs a different color suit. That particular suit doesn't really flatter her as far as the color is concerned, especially against her skin tone. And you really see it when they're in the comparison. She just looked a little washed out. So I think something that was a little bit deeper in tone would be much better on her. She can stay in this color family, but she needs to go a little darker. She's a beautiful girl in the face and in the look, the overall look. She's very beautiful, stunning. Like, she grabs your attention on stage. But there's just a couple of little things that she needs to fix with her presentation in that regard. And she's from Europe. She's from Italy. Again, this is her first show that she's ever done here in the States. So this is why we always have to kind of take a pause when we're looking at European competitors as they come over to the United States, because they need to get in front of the judges here and be in front of the US competitors to really hone in on their look, right? So while she's always like a top person over in Europe, she did win a show over in Europe, she's still in the first call out here, but in order to win a show, she's going to have to make some changes, make some tweaks. Okay, so when we pull her over to the back, let me pull up a back pose for you. This is where she kind of fell off, and this is why she was in 4th, in my opinion, when it came to her back pose. There's a ton of pictures here, so let me get to a back pose for you. And that front pose I had up was actually from the back of the stage, so I'll pull up another one so you can see it, so she's more clear. But here's her back pose. So from the back, she just lacks in the glute department. You know, one of the things that I was curious to see with her next to the girls here in the States was her back pose, because from what I saw in the European shows, it looked like she was leg heavy. And I wouldn't say that she has too much legs. I would say she needs more glute, right? She's a little bit flat from the back, doesn't have that full roundness. She's got great shape. She just needs more of it. She just needs more of it here. And then she'd be good to go. So this is the suit cut's great, all that kind of stuff. I have no problem with the suit cut. She just needs a different color. Pose is good, all of that. She just needs some more glute. She needs to fill out a little bit more from the back. And she definitely needs to be darker on her tan too, but I think the suit color would help with the tanning issue as well. Let me pull up a quick front pose since that was not her at the front of the stage. Let's see real quick. Oh, there we go. Right there at the top. So that's her at the front of the stage with better lighting. So you can see she's a little washed out with that tan and that suit. So that was Octavia. Then we got Jessica Wilson. So Jessica came in 3rd, and I could have made an argument for Jessica in 2nd. I personally had her in 2nd. And the reason why is, again, I go back to with her, she has like one of the best front poses in the entire division. She's just so well balanced from the front, tiny little waistline, beautiful overall look and aura about her on stage. She's very bubbly is not the word I'm looking for. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but she's just one of those people that you're drawn to. She's got that magnet to her when you're looking at people on stage. So she's got that magnetism when she's on stage. And this was exactly what she has. Like this to me is a beautiful bikini front pose. She, like, again, just from top to bottom, she's put together very, very well from the front. Yeah, magnetic, exactly, magnetic. So again, gorgeous girl, beautiful look. I wouldn't change a thing about her front pose, not a single thing. Her suit, everything. I wouldn't change a thing, right? Yeah, she does absolutely stand out with that confidence, 100%. She's got great energy, all of that kind of stuff. So let me go to a back shot of her. And you're right, she's captivating. Everything about her, you just can't not look at her. She's stunning, 100%. Now, the problem with Jessica is her back pose. She's gotten better, but her critique is always the same for me, in that she needs more upper outer glute. This is actually really good. I was like, this might be enough. This might be enough to get her up and over the hump and get her into a winning position. She was tight enough, she was round enough, she was full enough, but she's just lacking a little bit in that upper outer glute. Again, this is better than what she's put on the stage in the past. This is actually much better. She's going in the right direction. She's building, that kind of thing. But she's just a little bit shallow on the upper outer. So that's what kind of hinders her when she turns to the back. But again, I was like, this might just be enough. This might just be enough. So I was like teetering. I had her winning from the front. Honestly, I had her winning from the front. From the back, I did not. From the back, I had her in third. So it made sense. But again, I wouldn't change anything about her pose. She just has to keep growing. Just, that's the battle of that's that genetic factor right there, So let's move over to Daraja. So Daraja is a gorgeous girl. She's another one of these girls. We were just talking about Jessica. Daraja is another one that when she steps on stage, she's just, you can't not look at her. She's beautiful. Everything about her is beautiful. Where she has an issue is, in my opinion, her conditioning. Because she's not quite tight enough, it's almost like she's got this film of water over top of her. Because she's not tight enough, this waistline looks thicker. I'm going to pull up at the end of this. I'm going to pull up comparison shots so you can see her next to the other top girls. Her waistline just does not come in as tight as the other girls. This has been a constant thing with her this year that I've mentioned through my critiques with her. There's just something happening where we're not getting that really tight core here. And it's very, very noticeable when you get next to girls like Jessica, who have a teeny tiny little waistline, right? So she gets exposed. When she's by herself, she looks phenomenal, but she gets exposed when she's standing next to somebody else. She's got full round muscle, but she needs to be a little bit tighter. And I've been saying this all year, she just needs to be a little bit tighter every one of these shows, right? Again, gorgeous look. I wouldn't change anything about the suit color or the hair color. I think that's right. She did a few different looks this year. I think this is the correct call when it comes to the overall look. Her conditioning just needs to be tighter. Let's pull her back shot up. Let's see. So again, coming from the back, now you can see here where she does not have that problem with the upper outer glute. She has plenty of glute back there, plenty. But again, she's a little soft. She's just a little soft. I just want to see her a couple pounds tighter, just a couple pounds tighter. It's just a little bit too much softness in the back. And again, by herself, she looks great. It's not until you put her next to the other girls that you notice it. So if you were just to look at this photo on its own and be like, yeah, she looks great, I'd see her winning, but when you get her next to the other girls, that's where you see the weakness, right? So she needs to tighten it up. She needs to tighten it up. Okay. That is my only critique when it comes to her. Again, I think she has a great look overall. And again, she's a stunning girl. She just needs to nail that conditioning. Has to get that. Okay. Because she gets exposed when she stands next to somebody like Phoebe, who was on point with her conditioning. Okay. So Phoebe nailed it. Now, I wasn't really sure what to expect from Phoebe at this show because her last showing was the Arnold and it was not a good look. She was soft. She looked tired, all those kinds of things. But the Arnold was in March and she's had a long time off stage, right? So this was probably the best look that I've seen from Phoebe, hands down, right? I still would like to see this front pose tweaked a little bit. She's too sideways to me. I feel like if she just twisted around a little bit more, that would probably show her shape a little bit better because I feel like she's a little like as much as round as her shoulders are, I just feel like they're a little diminished. and she could pull them open a little bit more, and that would probably round her out a little bit more. This particular pose, the way she's standing here like this, makes her waistline look really long. And I'm not sure if that's the right position for her. Now, they may have tried other ones, and this is the best spot for her. That could very well be the possibility. And this could be her best look right here. But I just like to see this front pose tweaked a little bit. Hair is close, but it's covering quite a bit of her. And you're going to see that when we turn her to the back too. She needs to tweak the hair a little bit. And I would also tweak the look with the suit and the makeup too. So suit color is good. I'm just not a fan of this long halter kind of look here with this suit. I just don't think that that's very flattering. I think she needs a little bit more cup side over here and a little less up here on top. She needs some more fullness in the cup and less length, if that makes sense. I think she's already a long girl. And when you create patterns that are long like this, it makes them look longer. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to look longer. I want it to look rounder and fuller, because she's such a tall girl too, and she's a long girl. You gotta juxtaposition that, right? So I'd like to see a few tweaks with that. Makeup was good, but I still think she can bump up the glam factor. I just don't see her fully glammed out. I'd like to see a little bit of a change in her eye makeup. And I think that would help, like maybe a golden eye versus that cooler colored eye. So there's just little tweaks that I'd like to see happen with this particular makeup look on her. And the same thing with her hair look. Like I said, a few tweaks that could really punch this up another level. Because again, she won this show, but she's getting up against the best in the world this week, right? So conditioning was perfect. I wouldn't change a thing about the conditioning. And where she really won this show was from the back. So let's pull her to the back. Here we go. So perfect conditioning on the glutes. Okay. She's got that tight tie-in, but she's still round and full and bubbly. And that's what we want to see. We want to see that tightness here, but the fullness as well, which she has both. Now, what I was just talking about with her hair, see how it's covering her up a little bit too much here? She needs to pull that in a little bit so we can see those delts a little bit better. Excuse me. There's a few photos on here where you can't see her shoulders at all. So she needs to just tame that hair down a little bit. I think it's the right hairstyle, but she just needs to tweak it a little bit. Again, like I was saying before, just a few little minor tweaks would make a big difference in the overall look. Other than the hair from the back, I wouldn't change anything. I think she's right on the money here. I think this fullness, this roundness, this conditioning is right on the money here. And I think if she brings this to the Olympia, she's going to get a good look, right? So let's pull up the comparison shots real quick. I wanted to show you this so you can see what I'm talking about when it comes to these girls and how they looked next to each other. Let me see if I can find a good front pose of all of them. Yes. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here's your comparison shot, and I'm going to get rid of the chat overlay so you can see this a little bit better. There you go. Okay, so what I was talking about here, as you can see, tiny waist, tiny waist, tiny waist, thick. And it's not even that big. It's just her conditioning is not quite tight enough. I don't know if you guys can see this on the live or not, but it's just like she has a layer of water or something on top of her that she needs to release. Maybe it's stress, who knows, whatever it is. But that's what you see here in this front pose, right? And what I see here as a winning front pose, like I said, is Jessica right here. Is Jessica. I'm on YouTube. I can't screen share on Instagram. You have to be on YouTube to see it. So if you're on Instagram, go over to YouTube. So Jessica right here, to me, wins this front pose, right? Octavia looks pretty damn good. I have to be honest with you. Octavia looks pretty damn good in this front pose. But again, you can see here what I was talking about with her tan being too light in comparison to everybody else. She's a little bit harder through the legs, through the shoulders, everything. She's just a touch harder than everybody else. And this suit is just too light on her. She needs a darker suit. I think if she was wearing a suit color like Phoebe's, I think that would have helped her and would have popped her a little bit better, right? So from the front, I have Jessica. You know, from the front, I have Jessica. Now, as you can see, what I was just talking about Phoebe with her being so tall and so long, see how long this suit top is? I would like to see that shorter and rounder, okay? Instead of being skinny up here at the top, I'd like to see a little bit more fullness in that suit top, right? So my 2 cents from the front. Let's find a back shot. Makes a whole lot more sense when you see them together, right? And I just thought about this. I did screen record the actual live stream too, but I forgot to pull that up because I was more focused on the actual Olympia predictions than I was on this particular show. So, oh well, is what it is. Hopefully you guys got the live stream because I did. Okay, so here's the back shot of these girls too. So clearly, I think clearly from this shot, Phoebe's the winner, right? So I have no idea why she kept her tan lighter, but you can see it here that she is lighter than everybody else on that stage. She's lighter than everybody else on the stage. So that does not help. I understand what you're saying about maybe because she's a little harder than everybody else, but it really doesn't help, right? So yeah, Phoebe's the clear winner here. Now, again, if Daraja was a little bit tighter, she would have given Phoebe a run for her money, but she just wasn't tight enough. You can see a little, again, just a film of water or something on top of her versus everybody else. Now, again, here's where we see Jessica kind of drop off is in those upper and outer glutes. So poses are perfect, the way that they're all posing, but Phoebe's clearly the winner here. Clearly the winner here. And again, Octavia, I don't think her legs are too big. I think she just needs more glute. She's just a little bit shallow in the glute, right? So when you see them next to each other, I think it makes pretty clear sense as to why they are where they are and all of that, right? Anybody have any questions on this show? Because that's going to wrap up this show and we're going to move over into Olympia and my final predictions for Bikini Olympia, if there are no questions here. So again, guys, for those of you that are over on Instagram, I am screen sharing over on YouTube. So if you're on our channel on YouTube, you'll be able to see all these pictures and everything that I'm showing, okay? I just finished up Battle of Texas. And because these results went the way they did, this did affect how I am going to predict the remainder of the bikini top 15. And let me tell you, it was not easy. Like I said, as I was sitting here, I scratched out names about 15 times. This is gonna be hard, you guys. This is gonna be really hard. So I'm gonna put the chat overlay back up on here so that you guys can talk if you'd like to and ask questions as we go into it. And then I'm gonna start at the top and move my way down. And we're gonna talk about this and why I'm choosing these people in certain areas and things like that. I haven't specifically broken this down into placings. I've broken this down into call outs. Okay, so I already gave my top 6 last week, which if you don't remember, it was Jennifer in first, Laura Lee second, Maureen third, Issa fourth, Ashley fifth, and Janet in 6th. Okay, now typically call outs are 8 girls deep. So we've got 6 already. When we get to 7 and 8, those 2 girls that I have in this position are my top call out girls, my first call out girls. If you get into the first call out in this particular show, I could see these 2 girls potentially moving up. They could be potential spoilers and could push these girls I have in the top 6 out. Okay, so this is going to get interesting. This is going to get very interesting. Okay, so I'm going to tell you who I've got in my 7 and 8. You guys ready? 7 and 8? Let me get let me find it before I sit here and tell you I'm going to show you my 7 and 8. I got to pull them up. Let me find them. Hold on. Where did they go? Here we go. Okay. I know the suspense is killing me, right? Okay. So in my 7-8 position, first one up is Jordan. I think that Jordan could very easily be in the top call out at this year's Olympia. Okay. I think that she could very easily be one of the ones that pushes up and into the top 6. Let the bets begin, right? I know, right? She's coming off of, I knew it, right? Yeah. She's coming off of 3 wins back to back. 2 wins, 3 wins, whatever it is. It's a lot of wins. And she's got momentum on her side. She's looked the best I've ever seen her look. She's got the confidence. I think she's got the look that will compare well to the other top 6. Let me find a good front shot so I can pull that up and show you what I've got for that 6. Here's a good front shot right here. So the biggest thing that Jordan has to worry about at this particular show is just making sure she nails her conditioning. If she nails her conditioning, I see her in that top call. And again, she placed 13th at last year's Olympia. So this is not a huge jump. Getting up into the 7-8 position is not a huge jump, but it is a significant jump because if she gets into that first call out, she can easily work her way up if she's on point, right? This is where the rubber hits the road. Okay, this is where the rubber hits the road. If she gets in that first call out, she's going to get looked at. She's going to get noticed. Okay, she could be a spoiler that comes in and knocks some people out of the top 6. Okay, so she's the first one that I have in that 7-8 position. Anybody have a guess as to who my next one is? Go for it. Somebody guess before I reveal it. Somebody guess who I have in my the last person I have in first call out. Somebody else give me a first call out person. Now this person, I'll say it's not Jessica. Nope, it's not Jessica. It's not Phoebe. Nope. I will say I kind of have a heads up on this one because I saw a check-in from her today. So look at all the guess. I love the guesses, you guys, but nobody's got it yet. Oh, we got somebody that got it. All right. So, since we got somebody that got it, I'm going to go ahead and reveal it. Ready? It's Amy. Okay. Now, okay. Oh my goodness. Everybody's guessing. Amy. I have Amy. Okay. You got to remember that Amy won Tampa. She came out of nowhere and won that thing, right? She came out of friggin' nowhere and won that thing. So, she, from what I've seen of her, she looks absolutely phenomenal. And I think that she is going to shock some people. I really think she's going to shock some people. She shocked some people at Tampa. So I think she's going to shock some people this year. I could easily see her in that, 7-8 position. And again, if you get into that first call out, that means you can move up. Okay. So let me pull up a good front shot of her. Actually, let me find Tampa real quick because we have Tampa sitting here. She took first in Tampa. Here we go. Let me get a good front shot of her from Tampa. There we go. I love all the guesses though, you guys. You can see how hard this is as far as picking people. This is hard. So yeah, I feel sorry for the judges too. This is going to be a very, very tough show, you guys. It's going to be a very, very tough show. It's going to be a tough show. So I have Amy getting up into that first call out. Okay. So this is your top 8, right? This is your top 8. Now, again, if you get into that top 8, you could very easily work your way up, Okay. Now, what happens after we hit top 8? So what happens after we go through the first call out typically? Now, I think last year, I think the call out was 8. I can't remember exactly, but it was a big call out. I'm pretty sure it was 8 last year for the first call out. What typically happens after you got the first call out is they take the top 4 out, right? They take the top 4 out and then they bring another 4 in. Okay, so the next 4 girls are the girls that I'm going to talk about that could be potentially in that second call out, which means they're going to be somewhere between 9 and 12. Is that where we're at? Yeah, 9 and 12. Okay. And again, if they take the top 4 out, that means there's still 4 girls on that stage from first call out. So that means if these girls that are getting pulled in, if the next 4 get pulled in, I was just talking about the first call out itself, not the ones that they take out But anyway, if they take 4 out and they pull another 4 in, that means that those 4 could potentially work their way up and kick some people out of that first call out down into the second, right? So this is a critical call out. These next 4 girls are critical. They could potentially move their way up from, 12th place up into as high as, 7th, somewhere in there, 4th, 5th, that kind of thing, right? So let's just go with it that they're taking 4 out. We're going to put 4 more in. Okay, ready? My next 4. I'm going to start right here with Romina. Romina just killed it at this last show that she just won. Now, you got to remember that Romina has been a top 5 Olympian in the past. So I don't know. There was one year where she didn't qualify for the Olympia. Last year, I think she placed last year, but I can't remember what her placing was last year. But this girl is hungry to get back up into that top 5. She wants to get back up into that top 5 real bad, you can tell, right? So based on what she brought to Atlantic Coast, I can absolutely see her moving up. I can see her in the top 10. I can see her pushing her way up. Okay, so Romina's the next one they have in line for that next 4. This is the next 4 that we're talking about that are going to be pulled into that first call out and get compared to the bottom 4 of the first call out. Okay, so that means she could move up, right? Did she get 8th? I can't remember what she got last year. I was pretty sure she was top 10, but I couldn't remember. But yeah, I know she's pushing hard to get back up into that top 5. I mean, who knows? This could be her opportunity to get back up in there, right? So I have her in that next set of girls coming in. Okay. Next, right behind her, and with the potential to move up, I have Ashlyn. Now, again, Ashlyn had a phenomenal year. She was a little off the mark at Atlantic Coast Pro. She's a little soft, but she's come in tighter, so we know she can do that. And she has been top 10 at the Olympia before. Not last year. Last year she was a little off, but she was in top 10 the year before. So she's been here before. She's been in this arena before. She's been up to the top before. And she's only gotten better since then. So I see her as another one coming into that next set of 4. Where is she going to land? Is she going to be in the top 10? Is she going to be, 11, 12? Depends on how she actually produces on stage that day. I can absolutely see her moving up into that top 10. Okay. She could pass Romina. She could pass any of these girls. But I think she's going to be in the next set of 4 that gets added. Okay. Next one that I have in that next group of 4. So we're on the 3rd one that we're adding into that next group of 4. I have Ivana. Okay. I have Ivana Eskandar. Okay. I think Ivana has an amazing look. I think she could be even higher than this, but this is new territory for her, right? Her look is a little bit different than the rest of the girls that we've talked about so far. She's not quite as bubbly. She's shorter, even on the extent of if she was to stand next to Ashlyn, she's going to be harder than Ashlyn. So she's not quite as bubbly and round as some of these other girls I've been talking about. But she has an incredible look, and she's won a ton of shows this year. So it's very possible that she can move up. It's very possible she can be in the top 10, right? It's very possible that she could end up getting up into that first call out even, right? So I think she's going to be a threat for the top 10 this year. I think that she's going to land in that second group of 4 that they pull out. Okay. Now I have one more girl. So let's do the same thing. I have one more girl that I'm going to add into that next set of 4. Who's the next girl? Who's the last girl that's going to get into that top call out? Who's the next girl? Give me a guess. Y'all did pretty good on that last one. I'll let it roll until somebody guesses. Who's going to be in that top 12? Somewhere in the top 12. This is the last girl that I think is going to be added into the potential of second call out. So again, we just talked about first call out being 8. They're going to take 4 out. They're going to bring another 4 in. This is the last group. This is the next group of 4. That's going to be the last group of 4. That's going to be compared to the top call out. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Go ahead and type it in. And for those of you joining in on Instagram, I was a judge. I'm not anymore. I was a judge. As much as I respect what the judges do, it was not for me. Sitting at that table all day long, not for me. I'm glad I did it. I mean, I'm glad I became a judge. I'm glad I went through the process because I understand how it all works, everything like that. But no, I'm good where I am. I already said Jordan. I have Jordan up in the first call out. Oh, we got it. Somebody guessed it. If you're on Instagram, I'm screen sharing over on YouTube. So we just said Ivana. Now Phoebe. Yes, I have Phoebe up in that next call out. So yep, I have Phoebe up there. Now, if you'd asked me this before Battle of Texas, I would not have put her here. But she just came in and she beat Deraja, who was 6th last year. Deraja was 6th last year. So that tells me that Phoebe is going to bust her way up into that top. Now, Phoebe could easily get up into the top 10. Currently, I have her sitting somewhere between 9 and 12, somewhere between there. So she could easily get up into that top 10, right? So what Phoebe just did at Battle of Texas was incredibly good as far as strategy is concerned. Because again, the last time we saw her was the Arnold, and it was not a good package for her, right? This was like, oh shit, she's back. Like she lived up to the hype, right? She lived up to the hype. So I do think she's going to get up into the top 12, maybe even the top 10. She can work her way up. Okay. So I hope, I don't know if she listens to these, but I hope she makes a few little presentation tweaks. And that could very well help her move up as well. So she's the last one that I have in that group of 4. So now we're to 12th place, right? So like I mentioned before, they only score up to position 15, right? So the next group of girls that I have the girls that I think are definitely going to place. And then I've got some dark horses that I have them all fighting for that 15th spot. Okay. So who have I not talked about yet that placed last year that I haven't put in here yet? Somebody give me a name. Who's going to be next on my list? That placed last year, but I haven't put them up in the top yet. Boom. First one on the list right there, Deraja. Yep. Okay, so I have Deraja next. So again, we just talked about her at Battle of Texas, and it's just her conditioning more than anything else. Her shape is fantastic. Her look is fantastic. Her presence, her posing, everything about what she puts on stage is fantastic and worthy of a top 5 placing, except the conditioning. She has got to nail this conditioning, okay? If she can get that conditioning in and get that waistline in, then she can move right back up into that top 6 placing that I had her in last year, right? But I haven't seen the conditioning this year yet. So it gives me a little bit of pause. I was really hoping that she was going to come into Battle of Texas just tight everywhere, and she was going to get that win out of Battle of Texas. But she looks pretty much the same as what she looked like the last time she was on stage. And when she gets up into that Olympia, into those Olympia ranks, this is just going to be too soft. I think it's a pretty look, but when she gets up next to those elite physiques, she is going to be too soft unless she can really dial this in. So I hope she's on it for the next week. Yep, midsection is always the issue. That's correct. That's where you see it, And, to be honest with you, from the back, she's not quite tight enough either. She can get just a little bit tighter and pop everything. She'd be great. She'd be on the money, right? But this is a couple of pounds she needs to get off of her so that she can pull that waistline in super tight and get those glutes to really pop, right? So it's possible. It's definitely possible. But I was really, like I said, I was really hoping that she was going to come into this Battle of Texas and have like a Tampa Pro moment like she did last year, where we just were like all jaw drops and stuff like that. And it didn't happen. So that's why I do have Phoebe ahead of her, because Phoebe just beat her. Now, again, a lot can change in a week. A lot can change in a week. And she could come out here and she could end up, coming in nice and tight and hit everything right and be up there in that top 6 again. So it's up to her. It's up to her right here. Okay. She's got the look. She absolutely has the look. She just needs to hit that conditioning. Okay. Who else have I not said yet that placed last year that I haven't put into the top 15 yet? There's one more person that I haven't said yet. Somebody give it to me. Nope, not Alessia. Alessia did place last year, but she didn't place top 5 or top 10. Sorry. I have Issa up in the top 5. Who else? Who are we missing? Who are we missing? I think Alessia took 13th or something last year. I don't have her in my lineup for tonight, though. There it is, Lucia. Okay. So my last one that I think will definitely place is Lucia. So Lucia just came off of a win in Hawaii. If you remember, what I mentioned about her is that I felt like she was a little bit too hard, needs to fill out, which she can do. Her shape is crazy, and her presence on stage is crazy. Yeah, Jen Ronziti is not competing. Yeah, she's not competing. So she had some health issues and stuff this year, so she is not competing. That's why I don't have her in here. But yeah, I have Lucia up in there. And Lucia was top 10 last year. I haven't seen really the same Lucia that we saw last year at all this year. She's still a very dominant competitor, but I still think she's just a little off in comparison to what she had on stage last year. So let's see what she brings. I'd like to see her hair a little darker. I'd like to see her a little bit fuller, a little bit rounder. She's got the conditioning, no problem. Just needs to fill it out, round it out. So she could easily move up in the top 10, but right now I do have her sitting outside the top 10. I have her in the top 15, probably 13, 14 area. But I just don't see her in the top 10 yet, but she could very well surprise me on stage. And again, she has incredible posing. I felt like her posing was probably the most confident posing I saw on stage, like hands down, at Olympia last year. So she could easily move up. But I have her placing, just not in the top 10 right now. So we're down to the 15th spot. And I have 4 girls fighting for this spot. Mainly because we just saw one of them, but the other ones we haven't seen on stage in a while. They've had history of placing well, or they are like a brand new breakout star. So I don't know who's going to fill out that last 15th placing. So I have 4 girls. So broke it down as much as I could, you guys. There's freaking 50 some odd girls getting on stage. I had to break it down somehow. So the first one that I have fighting for that 15th spot is India, right? India has been able to keep up with the standard and everything like that. But I think when she gets on stage next to these top tier girls, I think she's going to look a little bit thick and boxy, waistline specifically. I think she's got a phenomenal look, phenomenal stage presence, all of that. but I think the waistline is going to be a detriment to her, specifically when she gets up into these higher tiered call outs. Now, she does tend to be, you know, a top two call out kind of thing at the Olympia, but that's been a while since she's been on this stage. So I'm not quite sure. She could be one of these people that comes out and surprises everybody. But she could end up out of the top 15 too. So we'll see. We'll see what she brings. It's been a little while since we've seen her on stage, so we don't know what she's bringing to this stage. But I currently have her fighting for that 15th spot. I already said Phoebe. Phoebe's already in my top. Next one I have fighting for that 15th place is Erin Stern. Okay. So Erin, she did place in the top 15 last year, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look real quick. I think she did. Yeah, she placed 15th. She placed 15th last year. And I do think that she looks better this year. So, I mean, she could very well end up being a little bit higher, or she could end up being the same. I have her in that area. I have her in that arena. I have her as one of these potential top 15 girls. Do I think she can get in the top 10? Maybe. Depends on what she brings. But I do have her somewhere in there. I'm hoping she gets up in the top 15. My own personal beliefs. I hope she gets into the top 15. I think she's one of my inspirations from when I first started competing. So I'd like to see her in the top 15. But we'll see. I have her fighting for that 15th spot. So she's another one. Next, fighting for that 15th place, I have Jessica. Jessica Wilson. So Jessica did place 13th last year. We just saw her at Battle of Texas. So I do think that she could very easily get back up into that top 15. I could think she could easily be up in that 13th place like she had last year. Again, she just has that magnetism kind of stage presence where you can't help but look at her. You know what I mean? So that really helps when you're on that Olympia stage. You got to have that stage presence when you're on the Olympia stage. And she's got it. So I could very easily see her moving even higher than 15th, but I have her fighting for that 15th spot right now. Now I have one more girl that I have not mentioned that I have fighting for that top 15 arena. Who do you think it is? Somebody give it to me. Somebody tell me. Who do I got up in that top 15? Somebody I haven't said yet, obviously. I already said Erin. I just said Erin a second ago. Not Francesca, no. Who do we got? Who do we got fighting for that spot? Anybody? It's too many girls to remember. I know. Pull up the list. Pull up the list. Somebody pull up the Olympia list. Who am I putting into that 15, fighting for that 15 spot? I already talked about Dayraja. I got her up higher already. Nope, not Shelby. Though Shelby, I think could be a dark horse potentially. There we go. There we go. Our girl from over there in Europe. I don't know how to pronounce her name, so I'm gonna call her Val. Vadarenko. This big, she's tall. This phenom who won her pro card in August and has won 3 pro shows back to back since then is who I have as the potential dark horse here. This is who I have as the potential dark horse here. Now, going back to what we talked about from Battle of Texas with Octavia, girls from Europe tend to be too hard when they get here to the States. So while this girl is super dominant over in Europe, it may not translate here to the US, right? It may not translate here. She's got a bunch of little presentation things that she needs to be able to fix in order to be, to really be seen as a top contender here. But her actual look itself is really hard to ignore. It's really hard to ignore. If anybody can come over and just knock it out of the park, it would be her. So she is my potential dark horse. And this girl could be a huge upset. I could see her potentially moving up into the top 10. I don't see her any higher than the top 10. Some people are putting her up in the top 5. I don't see her up in the top 5. Just not yet. Maybe in a year or two, maybe. Not yet. She could potentially be up in the top 10. I don't think so. I think she's going to be somewhere between, 11 to 15. But this girl is an unknown right now. This girl is an unknown as far as getting in front of these judges. So we talked about this a lot with wellness because a lot of the wellness girls have not competed here in the States on the Olympia stage yet in front of these Olympia judges. Same thing here. She has not competed in front of these judges. She has not competed here in the States, so we don't know what she's going to look like when she gets here. But you can't ignore a girl who won her pro card, won her pro debut, won 2 more shows after that. I mean, you can't ignore that, right? She is the dark horse of this entire show. If I had to pick somebody that could come out and shock the world, it would be her. It would be her right there. Anybody agree with me? Anybody agree with me? I already talked about Erin. So that's my top potential 15. My top potential 15. No, I don't think that Valeria, I'm going to call her Val. I don't know. Again, I don't know how to pronounce her name. I don't think that her waistline is as thick as Raja's. You have to remember that she is 5'10", I believe. I believe she's 5'10". So when you're looking at her here, this is a 5'10" frame versus Deraja, I think is 5'3". So it's a big difference. It's like putting Phoebe next to Deraja. There's a difference, right? And when you look at her, again, she's tight. Where you see the difference in the tightness is the conditioning. It's the conditioning here. She doesn't have that film. Again, Deraja has like a little film of water on top of her that she needs to get rid of and peel off. Val, she doesn't, right? And again, you have to remember proportions. You have to always remember proportions. A girl this tall is going to be a little bit bigger in general because she's tall. That's putting an extra foot of mass on top of a girl's frame. You know what I mean? So she has to be wider. She's not going to have a 20-inch waist because she's 5'10", right? So that's the difference. And again, with Deraja, it's not that her waistline is thick. Again, it's not the thickness of the waistline. It's the conditioning. She needs to pull that in. If she can pull the conditioning in, then she'd be fine. But it hasn't been there this year yet. Just hasn't been there this year yet. So, I mean, that for me is why I dropped her down. And again, like I said, I kind of wish she had come out at Battle of Texas and shown that, but she didn't. So, and again, you have to remember, this is just predictions. Anything could happen on show day. Absolutely anything could happen on show day, right? So, I just saw that Jordan just logged on over on Instagram. I was talking about you earlier, Jordan. I have you in my top call out, so you'll be happy with me. So let's go through this one more time, and I'll give the list, my call outs and all that. So as I mentioned, that top call out, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Top call out is where the rubber hits the road, where these girls could potentially get up into the top 6. I already gave the top 6 before, but I have Jordan and I have Amy in that top 8. Okay. So if they get into that top 8, then they could potentially bump some people out of the top 6. Okay. So as we talked about, first call out tends to be 8 girls deep. That's your top 8. Okay. I don't give men's. We don't talk about the men here. Sorry. I don't do men. I only do women. That sounds terrible, but it's the truth. So that's our top call out. Now, what's going to happen is hopefully they'll take the top 4 out and they're going to bring another 4 in. So the next 4 that I have coming in are Romina, Ashlyn, Ivana, and Phoebe. Okay, so that rounds out your top 12. Okay, now these could go in any particular order. Like I said, I'm giving you more as a call out versus an actual placing. Because once they get into that call out, then they got to fight for their placing. Right? So I have your top 12 right there. And as you know, I already gave my top 6. My top 6 were Jen, Lauralee, Maureen, Issa, Ashley, and Janet. So, like I said, rounding out that top call out is Jordan and Amy. Then we got the next call out coming in. We got Romina, Ashlyn, Ivana, and Phoebe. Then when they go out, we're going to pull in our next 2 for our top 14, which is Daraja and Lucia. And then I have a bunch of girls fighting for that 15th spot, right? That 15th spot, I have people fighting for that one. I have India, Valeria. I don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry, butchering it. Erin and Jessica. No, I have Janet in my 6th place position. So for those of you that missed it, when I did my initial predictions, I did the top 6 for my initial predictions. I had Jen winning, Lauralee in 2nd, Maureen 3rd, Issa, Ashley, Janet. Okay. Anybody think that I'm way off? Anybody think I'm way off here? Like I said, I think that's Valeria, Val. I think she could be the shock of the show. I'm curious to see what she looks like. I'm personally curious to see what she looks like against the girls here. I do think she's going to be a little bit hard. I think she's going to have to make some presentation tweaks. But I think that she's got enough of a look to get up into those top couple of call outs. I think you're spot on, but I think Janet will beat Ashley. I don't. Ashley has beat Janet already this year. Ashley beat Janet at Pittsburgh. So Janet this year has already been beaten by all the top people except for Jen because Jennifer didn't actually compete. So yeah, that's why I have Janet in 6th. Now, what I mentioned before with Janet is that if she put on some size, then she can move up. But just in general, she's a lot smaller than the other girls this year. She was a lot smaller than the other girls this year getting on stage with them. Any questions, guys? Oh, you must be behind. Well, maybe Mindy, maybe you just I don't know, maybe you have maybe you hit the live feed a little bit behind. That'll put you behind the actual feed itself. So it is a little delayed anyway, and then if you logged on and are behind by 10 seconds or something like that, that's going to make it even more delayed. I did figure last week. I did a little bit of fitness tonight. I just picked your top 2, Ariel and Missy. And then we went into the last half of bikini. And I did figure last week. I did wellness last week too. So that's part 1. This is part 2. This is part 2. Anybody else have anything else they want to add? I'll leave it open for another minute. We've been on for over an hour tonight. This was a long one. I knew it was going to be a long one because we not only had to go through the last half of the Olympia predictions for bikini, but we also had to go through Battle of Texas. And Battle of Texas determined my picks for the last half of bikini. So, oh yeah, I have Sydney winning. Yep, 100%. All right. I'm going to go ahead and close this out, you guys. I'm going to do my best to get another YouTube video out tomorrow for the Bikini Girl in a Bodybuilding World. I have some editing to do. I don't know if I'm going to have time or not. I'm going to try. Whitney Jones. Yeah, Whitney's out. So hopefully I'll be able to get that out. This is the only live feed I'm going to do this week because I am leaving for the Olympia on Wednesday. So I'm just not going to have time. I'm going to do like I said, I'm going to do my best to get another video out tomorrow night if I can. I'm hoping, cross your fingers, everything goes well, I'll get it out. But if not, then we'll get it out when I come home. We got plenty of time. We got several months of no shows. So we have plenty of time once I get home. So, as far as Deraja, I don't know. I can't speak to her protocol and what she does, so I really don't know. I don't know what it is. So I don't want to, make assumptions or anything like that. I don't know what her diet and protocol is. I don't know what her life stressors are. I don't know any of those things. So again, I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't want to speak out of turn on that. So that's something she's got to figure out for sure. So, but with that, like I've told you guys before, if any of you ladies or if I've talked about any of you on these live feeds and you're not happy with what I said, go prove me wrong. Go prove me wrong. I've said that to several girls in the past. I actually said that to Jennifer Dory 2 years ago because a few people had her predicted to win a couple of years ago. I told her, I said, get out there and prove me wrong. And she proved me wrong last year. She did it. She proved me wrong. So if she can do it, y'all can do it too, right? With that, stay tuned because I will definitely try to go live or get photos, videos, all that kind of stuff while I'm there at the Olympia, as much coverage as I can. And we'll obviously put it back into some, uploaded videos and stuff once I get home. But it's going to be a fun weekend, however many days I'm going to be there. I don't even know, but I'm looking forward to it, even though it's going to be cold. Whatever is what it is. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your evening. I'm going to let y'all go. Hopefully that this made you guys think a little bit about your own predictions for this year's Olympia. And let's see how these girls do. Let's see how they do. Let's see if they prove me right or if they prove me wrong. I could be wrong on all these girls. I could be wrong on every one of them. So we'll see. We'll see. That's the fun of it. That's the fun of it. So as always, if you'd like to work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. We do hair, makeup, suits and posing, all the fun stuff when it comes to competing. And we'll see you in Vegas. We'll see you in Vegas. Good night, you guys.